Demonstrators on the move in downtown Detroit calling for an end to police brutality and demanding racial equality as they march for the 100th day. This comes after a federal judge ruled that police cannot use certain tactics against peaceful demonstrators. And let's get right over to 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham, who is live in downtown with the latest. Darren.
Yes, good evening, Amir. We're still outside of Detroit Public Safety Headquarters. That crowd has since left in the past hour. They were congregating at the corner there. That's where the march started and ended. We walked alongside those marchers for a period of time before peeling off to put together the story that you're about to see. However, I did check in with the Detroit Police Department's public information officer to try and find out if there were any incidents. And so she told me that there was a statue vandalized at the intersection of Michigan and Washington. They are not sure who did it, but here's a look at how the evening started.
We're here fighting for justice.
The group Detroit Will Breathe tally the count at 100 days, the length of time they've been gathering in downtown Detroit to march through the streets. Months of calling for an end to police brutality, chanting Black Lives Matter, and to defund the police after the death of George Floyd. On this march, they celebrated their victory in federal court, a judge ruling that police cannot use batons, tear gas, nor rubber bullets against peaceful protesters for the next 2 weeks.
My reaction to the ruling was one of overwhelming relief, knowing that my clients and the hundreds of demonstrators who have chosen this moment to march beside them and demand justice will be safe from further acts of excessive and unnecessary force and brutality by DPD.
It's a temporary restraining order. Attorney Amanda Ganem says her clients are seeking an indefinite end to the use of force during their continued protests.
There's simply no reason for these excessively forceful tactics to be used while people are out here in the streets peacefully and nonviolently exercising their First Amendment right to demonstrate, exercising their First Amendment rights to assemble and to protest, and even to critique public officials.
DPD's attorney, Lawrence Sia, tells 7 Action News, quote, "The parameters laid out in the order are very consistent with current DPD policy. We are disappointed the order was entered without an evidentiary hearing because we believe when the evidence is heard, the police actions to date will be deemed justified," end quote. On Twitter, Chief James Craig shared an article which states his position on the ruling. It reads that his officers have only used force against non-peaceful protesters and that the way his department handles demonstrations won't be changed by the ruling. Your reaction to that?
There's a whole lot of gaslighting going on in DPD headquarters, and that's one of the reasons why Chief Craig's got to go.
Now, Darren, you mentioned the ruling is in place for 2 weeks. So what's next in the case? What comes after that 14 days?
Well, Amir, at the end of this month, according to the attorney, there will be a hearing for a preliminary injunction. So what the group wants, Detroit Will Breathe, they want to make that 14-day ruling indefinite. They want to extend this victory.